Miko Zilla. Miko Zilla. Hello, welcome back to my channel and another episode of Dr. Miko's Fun Time Queer Seminar Extravaganza. If you're new here, my name is Miko Zilla of Visibly Queer Adults. It's 21 and I am the most visibly queer that I have ever been in my entire life, and I am feeling it, honey. So, if you haven't guessed, it's Pride. It's Pride right now, this whole last month dedicated to Pride, which is all about queer people. I wanted to make a video just kind of talking about Pride, my experiences as a gay person, and I want to talk about all the letters, you know, the alphabet mafia, what each of them mean. So if you're a queer person, it's nothing new to you, but if you're straight, you might learn something, and if you're queer, you should probably just send this to all your straight relatives to piss them off. You don't need to educate them. I'll do it for you, okay? So here today, while we talk about Pride, I just wanted to, you know, have a little kiki.
Let's have a kiki.
Let's do our nails together. So you see before me is kind of the color story we're going for here. We're starting with the classic rainbow. We got red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. And then I've included black nail polish to represent kind of QPOC. For anyone who doesn't know, QPOC just means queer person of color. And I didn't have any brown nail polish to go along with that, but I'm using white. And white is also part of the trans flag. So I am going to be doing a second blue in a different shade and pink to represent our trans brothers and sisters. And then I'm just going to go over it with a clear coat. Before we get into this, I just do have to say I am not a nail technician. So don't make fun of me for making mistakes. I usually make my husband do it for me. So anyway, let's go ahead and have a kiki.
I want to have a kiki.
So grab some snacks. You could do your nail polish along with me. Anything you want to do, let's go. Okay, here we go. Like I said, I'm not that good at nails, so we'll see how we do. We're gonna start with our first color, red. I'm probably gonna try to do 2 coats of each. So, what do you guys want to talk about? We're here in my salon. So I guess the first thing, rationally, would be to talk about myself and my own experiences with Pride. I always grew up kind of feeling like a little bit different. That's like the classic story of queer people. You just feel different when you're a kid. So I never really had that many friends per se, and the ones that I did have like didn't last very long, especially because my parents were like divorced, so I was kind of being passed around from like town to town because I didn't even live in the same town at some points. And oops, got a lot too much on there. Like I said, I'm not that good at doing nails. My husband is the nail artist and I usually employ him. So this is gonna be kind of embarrassing. Like, I'm trying to prove how gay I am and I can't even paint my nails. Anyway, so growing up, I was a little weirdo with no friends. And then I finally started to get some friends like 8th grade, and they were all the weirdos just like me. So I fit right in. And I had been around like the idea of gay people or like pro-gay ever since around that time because all my friends were. So obviously if all your friends are like pro-gay, so are you. I guess I just kind of like came to the realization, you know, I always kind of knew, you know what I mean, but I wasn't ready to be out yet. And I did come out when I was 15. I had been dating a girl for like a year-ish and came out. It was kind of the worst experience ever. I lost my best friend. Family made me go to therapy and I didn't have the option of like when to come out to my family. Everything just kind of happened at once. So, ooh, Jesus. So, ooh. The lid to this fucker just like popped off. Oh my god, okay. Anyway, whew. Don't do this. What brand is this? clean color, homophobic, but I'm still gonna use them in my rainbow nails. Where was I? Yeah, okay, so I didn't really have the option of like when to come out to my family. It all kind of happened at once. That was shitty, and they made me go to therapy. You know, they kind of thought, oh, it's just a phase, because he likes listening to like Lady Gaga is like a cool to be gay, which like, bitch, yes, it is cool to be gay, but I wouldn't like lie about it and cause myself like emotional trauma. So anyway, that was fucked up, and I went through like a depression after that. But then I started to meet other actual gay people, and I had a lot more friends, and things were looking up towards like the end of high school. There was bullying in high school a little bit. One time I wore a Hello Kitty costume to school for Halloween, and I got a lot of shit for that, which was not cute. But for the most part, I had a group of people in my life that were like really, really supportive, and they never judged me or anything like that, which was good. And even my family all came around. And flash forward to 2020 is when I married my husband. We met probably like 5 years ago at this point. I don't even know. Time flies, you guys, seriously. I met him when I was 22, so that was like 5 years ago. So anyway, we were dating for like 4 years and got married in 2020, which was an interesting experience because we had to cut down our guest list a lot. It was already outdoors, so that at least was good, and we were blessed with like really good weather on the day, which by the way is October 3rd.
On October 3rd, he asked me what day it was. It's October 3rd.
AKA Mean Girls Day, one of the gayest movies ever. And he's like the love of my life. I waited so long. I like only ever dated a couple people before him because I didn't ever want to like string people along if I wasn't feeling it, you know? And I'm kind of an introvert, and like I need to find my people in life, so it took me a long time to find him, and I'm so grateful that I did. He's like the yin and my yang, you know? All those stupid love cliches. So we got our first coat on our first hand. It's looking cool. Just let that dry. This was my left hand. I'm right-handed, so if you came here to laugh at me for how bad I do at painting my nails, it's coming up. Alright, so that's me. And then like, so 2021, we're all in the pandemic, and I just wanted to like express myself a little bit more. I was already like pretty gay, but I just wanted to be more visibly gay. So you see, I dyed my hair, pierced my ears, I got a mullet. I'm trying to dress like more androgyny. What happened to this? Who is she? Alright, the fucking brush to this one is broken, but I'm gonna try to persevere. So anyway, that's like me. The brush is back? How did that happen? I just want to talk about all the letters in the alphabet mafia because a lot of people don't know, and we're referred to like usually just by the letters LGBTQIA plus. So I'll just go through the letters and share some of my opinions, some of like things that we still are striving for, because I think a lot of people think that once we got gay marriage, there was like no struggle anymore. Like you got what you wanted, but it's not enough. We need to protect our trans brothers and sisters. We need to protect women just in general. Especially we need to protect queer POC because they are underrepresented and over disrespected. They go through a lot more just from racism than I will ever personally understand. But you know, I just try to educate myself and do what I can and be an advocate for their struggle. So, you know, this is all just to say, like, as queer people, and that is what I like to use as sort of the umbrella term. It just means you're not cisgendered and or you're not heterosexual. I'm just kind of rambling. I didn't really script any of this, but I just want to talk about the different groups in our community that I appreciate. And the L and LGBTQIA plus stands for lesbian, which I friggin' love lesbians. They're some of the nicest, most hardworking people. I'm constantly like, please let a lesbian just take charge of my life and get my shit together for me, because if you want something done, go to a lesbian, that's for sure. Anyway, it's pretty basic. Lesbians have a lot of representation. Lesbians are just so wonderful. Now we have the cottagecore lesbians, witchy lesbians, butch lesbians, lipstick lesbians, e-girls, bi-girls. Well, bisexual comes later, but you get the picture. Anyways, I love women. I think everything needs to be run by lesbians, and that's just the tea, honestly. I'm doing a terrible job at these nails, by the way. It's fine, we'll clean it up. This one had a broken brush, so it's not completely my fault. We're moving on. The G in LGBT stands for gay, which is what I identify as. A cisgendered gay man is how I currently identify. And honestly, people like me, white cis gays, need to like tone it down a little bit. We've had the stage and the spotlight for too long, and we need to put the focus on some of the more underrepresented groups in our community, such as the transgender brothers and sisters. And that's just that. I think white gays need to be more involved in what's going on with the rest of the community, and that's just on T. That being said, I'm obviously gay. There's a lot of gay people that are involved with other aspects of the community. And what's not to love about gay people, especially like the hyper effeminate gays? Love them. They have been living out loud in these streets, which is amazing. The queerer you can be in public, the more I fucking love you. We love gay people, the creativity, the drag of it all. Even though drag can be done by any gender, it does not matter. If you love drag, you can be a drag artist. Oh god, this looks so bad. My husband's gonna be so mad at me when he finds out I painted my own nails. He's like, why didn't you let me do it? Bitch, I got shit to do. L, so we did L, we did G, we're doing bisexuals next. We're always doing bisexuals. Bisexuals don't get enough credit for all that they do, because people love to hate on them and say bisexual is a phase, or bisexual like is selfish for some reason. So bisexuals we need to treat better, even the ones in heterosexual relationships, because even when they're in heterosexual relationships, they bring queer energy into that relationship. They teach their partners to be better people, better allies. And just because they're in a quote-unquote straight relationship doesn't mean that they're not queer themselves and they can't represent that identity or our community as a whole. I love bisexual people. They are so fun and I just love it. Like 4 of my best friends are fucking bisexual and I think they're amazing. Fucking up these nails so bad, you guys. This hand is a little rough. Struggling, we're struggling, yeah. T, transgender. My favorite part of the alphabet mafia. I am so heavily enamored by trans people because nobody knows themselves, who they fucking are, better than a trans person. And not only that, but they have the creative power to fully realize who they want to be. They get to start from basically the ground up, which is amazing. And I love that for them. Obviously, we need to protect trans people. We need to believe trans people about their gender identity and be fully supportive of that at all times. Especially with the youth, we really need to protect our trans youth because there is such a high suicide rate, and especially trans people of color, again, are even more at risk for violence, and a lot has to change in our society. We need better laws to protect people, and we need to do better to financially aid trans people with their actual transitions, whatever that might look like for them. But it is a costly process, and not a lot of trans people get a lot of opportunities. Things are definitely changing. Trans visibility is higher now probably than it ever has been, but we just need to keep moving forward because not everybody is cisgendered. Alright, honey, so looks like we can put another code on these, probably. Talked about LGBT. Next up is Q, which stands for queer or questioning. Queer, as I've been using it mostly in this video, is kind of an umbrella term for anyone who is not cisgendered and or straight. But queer is also a term used for people who just aren't comfortable with labels. That's a whole discussion in our community as well. The Q can also stand for people who are questioning their gender identity or sexuality. That is people that are, you know, maybe in the closet or just generally not ready to come out quite yet. So that's what queer and questioning is. Getting so stressed out. I'm not used to doing filming while I'm like painting my nails. I'm not used to painting my nails. Like I said, I make my husband do it, and he's still probably gonna have to fix them later. LGBTQI. I is important and underrepresented in the alphabet mafia. I stands for intersex, which it's when you're born with sex characteristics that are both male and female. There's variations on this. I'm not extremely educated on intersex. However, I do know that sometimes decisions are made when intersex babies are born where the parents make a choice to do essentially a genital mutilation on them to make them look more one way or the other, which is totally messed up because a lot of the times they'll grow up and they'll, you know, maybe they have male anatomy or is made to look more male, and they grow up and they start developing breasts and they're actually like identify more as female. It can cause a lot of problems. So be more aware, do some reading about intersex because I want to learn more about it and how I can be a better ally to those who may be intersex. Oh my god, this yellow, you guys, sucks. I mean, no wonder it's the one that fucking exploded on me. Oh boy, these nails are not coming out good, guys. Alright, LGBTQI. So then we're moving on to the letter A. A stands for asexual, which means you don't really have much or any sexual desires, but it doesn't mean that you don't necessarily want romantic love. You just aren't interested in sexual activity itself, which is totally valid. We love ace people. It can also stand for aromantic, and some people also say that A is the place for the allies of the queer community. It's kind of a debated topic whether or not allies are part of the community. I like to think that they are, because why are we ostracizing people that are on our side? You know what I mean? Like, let the allies have a place. I've been surrounded by allies my entire life, and they've been mostly women who made me feel at home. Allies have always made me feel safe and at home, I do have to say. LGBTQIA. And then we're moving into the plus territory. So, in the plus includes other genders. There's a lot of genders out there now. So we're just like the alphabet mafia, literally. There's too many letters to even count. But one of the commonly added ones is demisexual, which is a newer sort of identity definition. To my knowledge, it's pretty new. Demisexual refers to when you have to have a connection with someone before you feel sexual attraction to them. which is pretty interesting. If anybody watching this identifies as demisexual, can you please comment about your experience? I'd really like to know more about what it's like being demisexual. Another letter commonly included in the plus is P, which stands for pansexual. And pansexual is different from bisexual. Bisexual originally meant you're attracted to men and women, but now it's been kind of expanded to mean that you're attracted to 2 or more genders, because gender is a spectrum and we all fall somewhere on the spectrum, right? There's lots of different ways people can identify, and that's okay. So pansexuals are attracted to anyone regardless of their gender. Bisexuals are attracted to at least 2, possibly more genders. I also just want to talk about every time, I swear. Alright, I'm gonna have to suffer through using this terrible black nail polish. Maybe I'll fix it later, but with wet nails, it's like impossible to go rooting through it. Hey Miko, why do you have to use 10 nail polishes? I don't know. It was an idea. I just wanted to talk about non-binary people for a minute. They kind of fall under like the trans umbrella, where your gender assigned at birth doesn't match your gender identity, but instead of being on the binary, right, of male-female, they fall somewhere in between. Non-binary people, there's a lot of different pronouns you could use. The most common would be like they, them, but it's really whatever the individual is most comfortable with, which I think is beautiful. Non-binary people are really living their lives visibly queer, and I love them for it. I want to be a little bit more non-binary in my fashion. I love non-binary fashions. I love anything that fucks with gender norms. I've always been attracted to androgyny, so I think they're like fucking amazing. And I love y'all. Alright, cool. We're almost done with our second Let's go ahead and talk about Pride. A lot of y'all need to learn some Pride history, because you seem to think that Pride's a fucking party or a corporate sponsored event, which technically it is both of those things now. But at its core, Pride is a protest for people to live visibly queer and celebrate themselves for all that they've accomplished in becoming more like their actual self. Pride is beautiful. My first Pride was like one of the best experiences in my life. I didn't even get to go to the parade, if I'm remembering correctly. I only went to the festival that happens after, because I live in Rochester, New York, and we have a really fun Pride celebration. We actually usually do it in July instead of June. So it's like we get 2 months of Pride, and it's like awesome. But anyway, so we went to the festival. It was so fun. I met Darian Lake that day, which I think I wasn't even like 21, so I couldn't go out to the gay bars or anything yet. It's just always been like one of those special things. I love going to Pride. We obviously didn't get to do Pride last year because of the pandemic, so I think everybody's just like a lot extra excited than they usually are for Pride, including myself. I don't even know what I'm gonna wear yet, but it's gonna be a good time. But I want to remind people that Pride started as a protest, and all of us white queers that just want to party and like do whatever just need to realize that Pride has history behind it. It was started by a black trans woman who was bisexual and a sex worker who threw a brick at a cop. That's Stonewall. That's what Stonewall is, if you didn't know. And it's important because the police were harassing queer people en masse. Like, they'd raid gay bars, everyone would get arrested, assaulted. A lot of bad things were happening to queer people back then. And so when Stonewall happened, it was finally queer people taking their power from the police to give them the right to dress and behave the way that they want and love the way that they want. And it's so important. So always remember Marsha P. Johnson. Always remember, as white people, that we owe pride to Black trans women, period. Moral of the story is I love every single aspect of the LGBTQIA plus community, and I always just want to keep educating myself. So if I got anything wrong in this video, or if there's things that I've missed, please let me know in the comments. Also, if you have any questions, if you're questioning your own sexuality, I'm not a real doctor, but I can see what I can do for you, point you in the right direction. There's lots of resources out there. So I'm gonna basically let these dry because they're pretty much done, and then I'm gonna put a top coat on off camera and I'll show you what I did. I need to clean it up a little bit. Alright, you guys, so my nails are mostly done. They came out okay. The left hand is pretty good because I did that with my right hand, except the yellow is like pretty ugly, so I don't know. Sorry, I didn't mean to flip you off. But the nail's saying fuck you, Miko. And the right hand is like, you know, it suffered from a lot. I actually messed up my purple one and had to completely redo it, but they're mostly dry. I'm sure they'll be fine. Otherwise, I'm just, like I said, gonna make Dana redo them for me because he is way better at doing nails than I am. But I hope you had fun. The moral of today's story is that if you're queer, you're perfect, and I love you. And just continue to live proudly all year long, not just in June. Pride is 365. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, and as always, subscribe to my channel down below. It helps me out a lot. And if you really like me and you want to help support a queer creator, you can also follow me outside of YouTube on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, all at Miko Zilla. That's about it for today, you guys. I'm gonna go spread the gay agenda to the general public. See you next time.